today's been very much about this is what it is now. We've got a sort of staged return over the next 2 or 3 days to ensure physically we don't compromise anybody, because quarantine is very different from lockdown. We were able to exercise in lockdown. We weren't able to exercise this time round. So we are working off the basis of 14 days of inactivity, which was what ultimately put paid to the Edinburgh game. So this time now we're probably taking the next few days as a staged return back, with a view to getting a normal week next week. I said we've got to be careful that this relief isn't like sort of, burst the doors open, let's get going. We've been really managed today around those individuals that have COVID or have had COVID, and those individuals that are bursting to go. And we've had quite a managed day to make sure that we can see how people react tomorrow and see how people react on Friday. We would have loved to have played Edinburgh, and it's just, it would have been unsafe, I think. Is the sort of advice we're getting is you're probably going to have to take a staged couple of days, probably 3 days of, today we've just got people moving. I think the key is the quarantine effect of us actually not being able to do anything. And after that sort of 2 or 3 days of increasing load, we then needed to back off again. And that made it impossible for us to prepare across to Edinburgh, which, we're all disappointed with. I think at any time there are questions and learnings that come. This is a new situation, and I think there's always situations that you can use hindsight to say we might have done that differently. The reality is that we are not playing in bubbles. We are working in a situation of mitigating risk, and we are doing our best to mitigate when we come back together or we travel and everything else. So it's very difficult in these situations when you aren't in a completely controlled situations to understand exactly what the sources were or what we could have done differently. There's definitely learnings, and I think I've been incredibly proud of how the team set up the processes, and I think sometimes we've got to see how these outbreaks occur is an endorsement of the processes that are in place. We were able to identify very quickly, we were able to isolate very quickly, and ultimately we've been able to stop an outbreak situation. So there's a great endorsement of procedures that are already in place. But as with everybody with this virus, we're having to learn all the time, and how we learn to keep rugby playing and moving forward while we're in a situation that is only mitigating risk is a constant challenge, and one that we should use every situation to learn from.